Happy Monday. Happy Move to Millions Monday. Darnell Jervy Harmon here. So excited to be back with you. Missed you guys last week, but it was President's Day. And on President's Day, we as a company had the day off. So hopefully you've had a great month of February because just like that, it is almost time for March. Like, I don't remember time moving nearly as fast as it does today. Does anybody else remember that? Like, I feel like when we were a child, time almost stood still, but now that we're adults running businesses, time be acting real crazy, going real fast. I feel like we literally just said Happy New Year. Today, I'm excited to be with you and in this confession. This is my series, Confessions of a Real $1 Million CEO. I made the decision that I was going to tell you guys the truth. I think that there are many people who have made it to the $1 million mark who want to lead you to believe that they woke up like this. Like, it's been easy peasy the whole time. It's been fun and it's been exciting, and that they don't have bad days. Well, that ain't my story, and that's not what I decided. I decided that I was going to tell the truth. I was going to teach the real, the raw, and the relevant of my journey to and beyond the $1 million mark, and my company, Incredible One Enterprises, where we serve six-figure service-based entrepreneurs, and we help to transform them into CEOs that make, move, and leave millions. So we're on a divine assignment and mandate to create more wealth and legacy at the generational level. The Bible says that a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. In my opinion, your business is not for your kids. It's for your kids' kids and their kids and their kids and their kids. And so we decided as a company to go all in on working with entrepreneurs to really build their businesses, massively increasing their income and their impact, so that they can ultimately put themselves on a trajectory to creating a legacy. If you were to go online and you were to look up the word legacy, you know what? It's going to say finances. A lot of people think that legacy is sitting back and remembering the good old times and remembering when such and such celebrity made us laugh. Yeah, that's all fine and good, but that is not legacy. Legacy is about money. And so our mission through our work is to help you to build a business that serves you both financially and spiritually, so you can make more money doing what you love, because it's hard to be the change you want to see in the world when you don't have extra change in your pocket. So today in my confession, I want to just talk a little bit about, I was on my team meeting today with my team that's all around the country, and I don't even know how we got into this conversation, but we kind of got into this conversation about when it finally clicked for me. I think we were talking about some of the clients that we've worked with over the years, and even some of the people that we work with now, and just some of the trends and things that we're seeing with the people that we're currently serving inside of our programs. And I realized something really powerful in my own journey, and I thought it would be pretty cool to share with you. So first thing I want to do is I want to do a quick check-in. So if you're here with me, we are broadcasting right now simultaneously on Instagram, on the @DarnellJervyHarmon page. We are on Clubhouse, although ain't nobody in the room with us right now except for my team. But we're on Clubhouse, and we are also on Facebook in the Facebook group, the Move to Millions group, and on LinkedIn on my personal LinkedIn page. So we are simulcasting in lots of different places. If you happen to be with us in any one of those places, I want to just do a quick survey so I can see where the people in the audience are, right? So if you have already crossed the six-figure mark in your business, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If you've already crossed the six-figure mark in your business. If you didn't, no shade, no shame. We're going to talk about some of the things that I did that got me over the six-figure mark. That is the first and most important milestone inside of your business, crossing the six-figure mark. I know for me personally, that was when things began to change. I started to be able to see the light at the proverbial end of the tunnel. I started to realize that I could do more inside of my business once I made it over that first hurdle, right? So if you have already crossed the six-figure mark in your business, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If you've already crossed the seven-figure mark in your business, I want you to put a 2 in the chat, right? So 1 if you've crossed 6 figures, 2 if you've crossed 7 figures. There's a big amount of space in between. We like to call the space in between the Move to Millions continuum. This is the journey. This is the trajectory of going from hitting the six-figure mark to getting to the 7-figure mark. And there's a lot that needs to change between getting to 6 figures and getting to 7. You've probably heard it said this way: what got you to 6 won't get you to 7. That's the God's honest truth. I'm going to break it down as I tell my story to you today, because these are my confessions. Part of the reason why I decided to start this series, outside of telling the truth, I think there's far too many people either leading you to believe that it's really easy or leading you to believe that it's really hard. It's neither. It's going to take work, but it's about the work being strategic and not hustle and grind work. And the most important part of the work, if you ask me, is the alignment. It's the work beneath the work. It's the inner work that's the most important part, and has been instrumental in me continuing to change the amount of money that we earn inside of our business. Oh, let me sidebar and say this too before I get too much further along. I love to talk about money. I love it. I love it. I love to talk about it because we need to normalize it. And as long as money is something that is hard to get, it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have enough of it, and you'll always be uncomfortable around it. I want to normalize the way you see money, because money is just an energy. It takes on whatever meaning you give it. If you tell yourself that it is hard to have money, if you tell yourself that you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, then you will always have to rob Peter to pay Paul. If you tell yourself that money is available to you whenever you want it, money will be available to you whenever you want it. It's only going to be whatever it is that you want it to be. But let's also keep it real. Money exists for a reason. It might be transactional energy, but it exists because we need it. It is essential and important. So if you happen to be one of those people who lies to yourself and says, I don't need money, or I don't do it for the money, that's a lie. You do it because you need the money to live the way you want to live. Now, that might not be your sole impetus, and I pray that it isn't. Because doing things just for the money is the fastest way not to have enough of it, right? You have to get yourself to the point where you're detached from any and all outcomes about and around money, so that the money can flow freely into your life experience. That's what I've learned. That's probably been one of the biggest changes that I've seen happen inside of my own business and my own trajectory. I've been in business for 14 years. I started this business in 2007 after finishing my second pink Cadillac and realizing that I did not want to be a Mary Kay pink Cadillac sales director anymore. I prepared myself to send my car back to the company, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and I decided to start this business. And some of you, if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me share parts of this story. I sucked. I really sucked when I first started this business. First, I spent about 9 months creating content that when I finally put myself out in the marketplace, because of fear, no one wanted. Don't ever do that. I am a big believer in selling it before you create it today. That's not who I was when I first started 14 years ago. I struggled massively because of that. That first 9 months spent so much time and energy trying to come up with the perfect product or service, only to find that the clients I wanted to serve were not interested in what I'd spent my time and my energy on. And that is what ultimately led me to having to file bankruptcy and having to go back to work. I ended up spending 2 years back at work, working in a women's business center and learning the things that I didn't know that would become essential to who I get to be today inside of my business. Over those 2 years while I was working that job full time, I was moonlighting in my own company, working part-time nights and weekends, trying to get this thing together. And I struggled massively. It felt like I was trying to push a boulder up the hill the entire time, the entire journey. And once I figured out a few things, I'm going to share them with you in a moment, everything began to shift. I crossed the 6-figure mark, hitting that very first milestone. And from there, it became much easier to get our business firmly on a trajectory to the $1 million mark. And now our goal is 8 figures. So we're working to get our company to $10 to $12 million within the next 2 to 3 years. That's our goal, to put it out there. But before I got to 6 figures, it was an uphill battle constantly. And these are the 3 things that I did that made the difference. So for those of you who are here with me watching that you haven't hit 6 figures yet, this is for you. This is what's going to be most important for you to really master inside of your business to get to the first 6 figures. Now, here's the thing. $100,000 business isn't hard, right? We can all grab our calculator. Where's my calculator? We can all grab our calculator and do the math. Let's do the math. 100K divided by 12 months is $8,333.33, right? Let's say you had a $10,000 offer, a $10,000 program, and people paid you $835 a month. So we're going to take that $8,333.33 divided by 835. That's going to tell us that you need roughly 10 people. 10 clients makes you a six-figure business. If you're watching me on any of these platforms right now and you have 10 clients in your business, put a 3 in the chat if you have 10 clients in your business. If you have 10 clients in your business and you are not making six figures, it means you have a pricing problem. But the math is simple. It's easy. Just like to do $1 million, it's $83,333.33 a month to do $1 million in a year. The math is easy. It's not the math that gets us tripped up. It's how we make the math make sense inside of our business that creates the challenge for us. So the first thing that you have to do, one of the biggest mistakes and one of the biggest myths that I see people who are just starting in entrepreneurship, desiring to go to the next level, try to hunker down on is the 7 income streams to 7 figures. That's a lie. Stop it. Stop it right now. If you want to hit 6 figures, you got to go and focus on what we call the incredible ones. You need one offer. One. Preferably a $10,000 one. One $10,000 offer that you're going to make it your business to go out and find 10 people to enroll in. That's it. One offer. One complete solution that solves a real problem with a transferable solution and a transformational result for 10 people. For 10 people. That's it. That'll make you 6 figures. That was the first thing that I realized. I was trying to get to 6 figures by adding up a lot of low ticket stuff. Because yeah, we could take that same $100,000 and we could divide it by $27 and we would need to sell 3,703. Do you want to have to get 3,703 sales or 10? So that was the first thing I realized, is that I was working way too hard. I was doing way too much to try to make it to 6 figures. And remember, 6 figures is the baseline. It's the first milestone. Because I do believe that if you just make $100,000 in your business, you will still be in small business poverty. You won't have enough to pay yourself 70, 80, 1,000, or 100,000, 150,000. You won't have enough to pay yourself that much. So you might be barely making what you made at your full-time job, but you're working twice as much time. Like, I don't know anybody did anybody quit their good job to do that? I know I didn't. Now, I struggled. I'll be completely transparent with you. I didn't know what I'm able to teach you now. And so I struggled, and I ended up going back to work, and I filed bankruptcy because I was doing too much. I was focusing out instead of honing in. And that is what prevented me from getting my business to 6 figures really, really fast. So I went back to work for those 2 years, 2008, the end of 2008, all of 2009, all of 2010, I was in the workforce. 2011, January 1st, 2011, I came back into full-time entrepreneurship, full-time in Incredible One Enterprises. That year, we did $143,000 in our business. I made $120,000 in my corporate salary, but I had never made that kind of money for myself. What changed? Instead of trying to do all of the things, I focused on one thing. That's the biggest tip I can give you if you're not at 6 figures yet. Now, for the rest of you that are at 6 figures, that have a desire to move up that trajectory, whether we're talking 300,000, 500,000, 800,000, but you want to be somewhere between 100,000 and 1 million, there are some other things that you need to do. So in addition to perfecting your one offer, because listen to me and listen to me clearly, you can get to the $1 million mark with one offer. Forget what you heard. Stop letting people tell you that you have to have a lot of stuff. So you have to perfect one offer. You have to get one sound, succinct offer. You have to learn you have to create messaging for one offer. You have to learn how to market one offer. And guess what? You're going to have to learn how to sell and close one offer before you start adding in other offers. So when I shifted the way that I was showing up in my business, I only had one offer. Now, back in the day, this was 2011, I was only working with clients privately. That's all I had. Now, if you're taking notes, I want you to write down that private access does not scale. You cannot, I would not recommend that you try to get to 7 figures with a one private offer. But let me tell you what private offers will do for you while you're building, while you're learning, while you're figuring it all out, is it will actually put you in a position to get really, really clear and hone in so dramatically on the problem that your client has. And it will allow you to get crystal clear solving that problem over and over again for your one-on-one clients, so that then you're able to create what we call your signature business move, or one highly leveraged group program that takes all of that data you gathered from those 10 private clients that you worked with in a year to get yourself in position to build a really strong and robust group program that introduces leverage to your business. If you're taking notes, write this down. Leverage is the first step to the $1 million mark. You need leverage in order to be able to make millions, because then you're working one to many. You're taking your expertise and putting it in a format that multiple people can learn from it at the same time. In case you're just tuning in, let me just do a quick refresh and reframe. I'm excited that you are here for Move to Millions Monday. I am your host, Dr. Darnell Jervey Harmon. This is the Confessions of a Real $1 Million CEO series. This conversation is powered by Move to Millions Live. It is the live event experience for millions-minded entrepreneurs. It is happening May 25th through the 27th. You can go to movetomillionsevent.com to learn more and grab your seat. Today we're talking about when it started to make sense for me inside of my business. How, and that those first 3 years, I started in 2007, but it wasn't until 2011 that it all started to make sense to me. I was working way too hard for way too little, so much so that I ended up having to file bankruptcy and go back to work. It is not what I wanted to do when I left my corporate career as a vice president, strutting out there like I was Miss Had It Going On, to less than 3 years later be back in the job force and so embarrassed that I didn't go back to corporate America. I took a job in a nonprofit organization because it wouldn't require me to see the people I had left behind that I told I was going to make it, right? I was going to be a star. I didn't want to have to deal with that. But what I really had to deal with was this belief that I needed a whole bunch going on in order to hit a major milestone in my business. It wasn't until I started to streamline that things really began to make sense. And so now let's fast forward. It's 2011, we did 143,000. It's 2012, the top of the year. I set a new goal. And that was actually the first time I said out loud that I wanted to have $1 million business was in 2012. Now here's the funny thing. I think people probably do this all the time, and I was no different. I literally had just finished doing $143,000, and I said the next year I was going to do $1 million. I might have been a little overzealous, because before you can make the move to millions, there are specific things that you need to have in place and tightened inside of your organization. I didn't have those things in place. I didn't have those things tightened. So I was not actually really in position to get to the $1 million mark. It's one of the reasons why we host Move to Millions Live, because we want to prepare you to become a CEO that makes moves and leaves millions. You're not going to be a CEO when you leave us, because you're spending 3 days with us and we're going to be doing a lot of work. But you're going to be primed and positioned to go forth and leverage the strategy that we unpack together to get your business to the $1 million mark. And so here we are in 2012. I set the first goal that I was going to do $1 million. I'm a big dreamer, y'all. My name means the secret place where dreamers go to dream. In case you didn't know that, little Darnell trivia for you. And that's the truth. That is really what it means. And so I set this huge goal to do $1 million in my business, but I didn't have the infrastructure and system in place. And so you know what happened at the end of 2012 when we did about $250,000? A little bit more. We did like $283,000 in 2012. Do you know what happened? I felt defeated. I felt like something was wrong with me. I felt like I just couldn't get it right. I felt like a failure and a loser. Wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry. You mean to tell me you did $283,000 and you felt like something was wrong with you? Yeah, because I set a goal to do $1,000,000. See, some of you are setting goals, and I want you to dream big and I want you to stretch. But you're setting goals that you don't have the infrastructure to support you to create. And then you're allowing that to mess with your confidence and your ability to take your business to the next level because you don't know what it is that you don't know. This is what happened to me. This is my confession. But if this works for you, then I want you to put a 5 in the chat. I think we're up to 5 now. Put a 5 in the chat if this makes sense to you, because you can see how you having set similar goals in your business and not reaching them have made you felt the same way. But it actually wasn't your fault. Because not only did you not know what you didn't know, you didn't know what you needed to have in place in order to be able to produce a business that works at that level. And see, I'm crazy enough to believe that God is a gentleman. And although we have the desire to have $1,000,000 company in our heart and in our mind, He's not going to take us there before we're actually ready to handle it, so that it doesn't create an environment for us to be crippled by the success. That's what I believe. You might believe something different. And so here we are. We're in 2012. We didn't hit our goal, but we are now a multiple 6-figure company, almost $300,000. That didn't stop me from in 2013 setting the goal again to do $1,000,000. Now, let me just sidebar and say I still didn't know what I didn't know, and I still did not have the right infrastructure set up in my business. Yeah, no. It was basically the same business that I kept putting band-aids on and expecting to get to a different result. Y'all know that's the definition of insanity, right? Insanity says, I'm going to do the same thing every single year, and I'm going to expect something different to happen. So what I realized in 2013 when we had set that goal, and instead of getting to $1,000,000, we only got to around $500,000, a few really powerful things stood out to me. Number one, I realized that because I was still honing in. Now, in 2012, remember I said you only need 1 year of private access with 10 clients before you can create leverage inside of your business. And the main reason you want to do that is because you want to make sure that your process, your signature business move, has thought through all of the scenarios and all of the potential kinks, so that when you roll it out to larger numbers of people, you don't end up having issues come up that now you can't resolve. So only that first year that I work with 10 private clients. In 2012, we introduced our first group program. That is actually the year which is what is today the Move to Millions Mastermind started in 2012. I held a live event, and at my live event, I had 10 women all sign up for my $12,000 program at the time, and that was the first iteration of my mastermind. So I went from 1 year of private access to my second year only offering one group program. And at the end of 2012, as I just told you a minute ago, we were at 283,000 versus 143,000 the previous year. So in 2013, right, now we're at 2013, I said, okay, we just did 243,000. We want to go farther. We ended up at 500 and some change, 500,000 and some change. So I introduced my second program, and it was a group program. So before, I had all of my clients in one offer. So if you wanted to work with me, there was one group program for you. But what I started to realize is that everyone inside of my program was not actually at the same level. And I was doing them a disservice to keep them all in one bucket together. And so I took that one bucket and I reduced it down to 2 separate buckets. And so now I had 2 group programs. By introducing that second group program, that ended up being at a lesser price point than the first group program, I actually expand my capacity, and it allowed me to serve more clients. So my first program in 2012, we probably had, at the end of that year, we probably had about 25 people in that one program. By the end of 2013, we had 30 people in the one program, and we had 20 to 25 people in the second program. So now we have 55 clients. We're doing about a little bit more than $500,000 inside of our, was this our second year? So 2013, our second year full time. I kept setting the goal, y'all. So we got to $500,000, and I realized I needed 2 really solid offers to do that. because everybody wasn't at the same level, right? So this is, again, these are my confessions. This is what I did. We come into 2014. 2014, if you've been following me for any point in time, you know that's the year that I crossed the $1 million mark for the very first time. So since 2011 or 2012, I was saying I'm going to have $1 million company, but it actually took me 3 years to realize it. In 2014, in addition to raising the prices on my 2 programs, in addition to getting some key components and mechanisms in place inside of my business to set me up to be able to take on more clients at one time, we were able to end the year in 2014 at $1.8 million. So the biggest thing I realized is that once I got to the 6-figure mark, I actually put myself in position to be confident enough to actually shoot for the 7-figure mark. I think some people, even you guys, might get excited about hearing me say move to millions. It sounds so cute, right? First of all, I didn't come up with it. It was God's idea. But it does sound cute. But it also takes a strategy and clarity to actually make it happen. And if you haven't hit the 6-figure mark yet, it might be hard for you to imagine and visualize what it could look like to have a 7-figure business. Because it's a whole nother ball game. And it's positives and, not so positives, right? I mean, here we are making great money each month. We are. It's really, really great. But we're also spending a lot of money because I'm now about to bring on I think this is my 8th full-time employee in my company. And payroll is payroll, right? We need more systems. Everybody works on a MacBook. There are a lot of things that we have to do in order to get this company to run, right? We have to make sure that we have our policies and procedures set. We have to make sure that we're, we've thought through every possible scenario inside of our business to be able to serve our clients well so that they keep paying us and referring us to other clients while also marketing and selling to bring on new clients. So you need to have a lot of systems in place. When I was at 6 figures, I had almost no systems, y'all. That's why I could set the goal. I could be like, yeah, we just did $143,000, but we're going to do $1 million next year, and not hit it because I didn't have any systems in place. Write this down if you're taking notes. Systems make success projectable and predictable. You got to be able to project it. You got to be able to look at the numbers. You got to be able to look at the activity and reverse engineer what it's going to take for that activity to produce what it is that you're desiring inside of your business. And you have to be able to, through the use of these systems, be able to predict if I do A, B, and C, that I'm going to get 1, 2, and 3. And it takes time to collect data to get to that point. This is why I say no one goes to bed a blunder and wakes up a wonder. Everybody is on a journey. Everyone is on the continuum. It's why we've created the Move to Millions continuum, because we know that it's going to take time to get to the $1 million mark. I had a client last year who I started working with her in 2021. She was doing about $250,000 in her business prior to us working together. Came into our mastermind. Last year she did $750,000. So she tripled her business in 1 year, and she was feeling some kind of way that she didn't hit the $1 million mark, that she didn't hit $1 million. But what we realized when we backed into what had happened inside of her business was that there were a couple of key systems and a lack of support for capacity for her to have in place for her to actually do the million. It's not just what your calculator reports to you to do the million. There's other things that are included in that strategic formula that you may not be privy yet. But if you come to Move to Millions Live, which is happening May 25th through the 27th, go to movetomillionsevent.com, I'm going to give you all of what it takes so that you'll actually have your own trajectory set before you leave the event to get an idea of how long it's going to take you to make the move to millions. I believe that we should all be doing millions, because that is the way that we shift generational trajectories. Like, for just a moment, could you guys just ponder with me for just a moment? Could you imagine what it would be like if you're not here anymore? You've gone, your sun has set, But you showed up fully and you did your work and you left millions to those that you love. And your great grandchildren that never even got to meet you, they weren't even visions of sugar plums dancing in the heads of your grandchildren when you left, when your sunset. But they know your name and they know who you are because you had enough foresight through operating your business inside of integrity and making impact and doing work that people would happily invest in themselves to get access to. You are able to leave them something that they could fold, all because you gave your clients something they could feel. Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be incredible if we could put ourselves on a trajectory to leave that kind of legacy? That when your great grandchildren got to the age of 18, they could make a decision as to whether or not they wanted to go to college, buy their first home, or start their first business. And all of that would be because you showed up fully and you learned how to become a CEO that could make, move, and leave millions. Does that not excite you? If that excites you, put a 6 in the chat. I think we're up to 6. For those of you who are here with me on Clubhouse, raise your hand if the thought of what I just said actually like gets you excited. Cause I wonder if anybody else is thinking about this like I am. Like, I'm serious. And many of you, if you've been following me and you know my story, I don't have children yet. I'm 46. Put all my business in the street. I don't have children. I desire to have children. I'm going to have children. And I'm already thinking about my great-grandchildren and what I can leave for them. We work with a financial advisor. And I actually met with them last week. Every time I talk to them, they break my brain. But we're setting up trusts. And we're creating a foundation. And we're doing things with them. I'm getting choked up. We're doing things with the money that I am earning today that is going to benefit my great-grandchildren sometime down the line. I can't even say tomorrow, right? Sometime down the line. Because I'm not doing it. I'm not stunting for the gram. I'm not doing it for the Lubies. I'm not doing it for the Louis. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it to be able to leave this planet better than I found it. Because it is hard to be the change you want to see if you don't have change. And I decided that I was going to take God up on his offer to use entrepreneurship to be that vehicle for me. See, I believe that we were all born abundance personified. I believe that when the Bible says that we've been given the power to create wealth, when the Bible says that there's no good thing that he will withhold from us when we walk uprightly, when the Bible says that we can do exceeding and abundant above all we could ever ask of, think, or imagine according to the power that is at work within us, I believe God when he says that. And I internalize that to mean that I can have whatever it is that I desire if I'm willing to show up fully, operate in integrity, and do the work that yields the results. That's what I believe. And so because that's what I believe, I'm allowing that belief to fuel the activity of my business and the people that I've brought on my team to help me to support these amazing clients that we get to serve, these amazing events that we get to hold, because I want to realize what the word says, because I believe the word is true, and I believe that God is not a man that he could lie to me ever. I believe that if he said it, he would make it good, and it'll actually come to pass inside of my life experience if I do my part and give God something to bless. See, I realized that I couldn't wait on God because God was waiting on me. I had to give up and take action to give him something to bless. And I decided to do that inside of my business. And I decided to do that I could help other people be able to do the same exact thing. Because I believe that when God created you, he was showing the world what incredible looked like. He may have used your mom and your dad to bring you forth in purpose, but your purpose is to literally shake the planet through the work that you do inside of your own business. And I'm not to say that those of you who might have a job and love your job and want to work for other people, that there's anything wrong with that, right? Because we can't all be entrepreneurs. Because if we were all entrepreneurs, what would we do? Because we can't do all the things ourselves, not if we want to get to the next level, right? So even for those of you who have decided to use your gifts and talents on behalf of someone else's vision, I believe that there is a yield in even that. And that there's an opportunity for you to be able to contribute and experience everything that it is that you desire from that. Those are my confessions, right? That's what I've come to realize, that once I got to the 6-figure mark and got enough confidence to dream big enough to set that bold, audacious goal to do $1 million in a year, I actually put myself in position to do that. Like you realize that too, right? When you speak it, the Bible says, it talks about the words that we speak in several places. But specifically, I'm thinking right now about Proverbs, that life and death is in the power of your tongue. And what you speak about, you have the ability to bring about. Because in Genesis 1 and 26, God says, let us make man in our own image and likeness. Let us give him dominion over the earth and the power to subdue it. That means that our words matter. Just like God can say, let there be, and there was, you can say, let there be, and there will be. It hinges on your ability to be inside of alignment. So when I was first setting that goal to do $1 million, it was literally as I look back on it now, it was the thing to say at the time, because it seemed like I knew that I should have $1 million business at some point in time. But I actually wasn't in alignment. And what I mean by that is not just the spiritual esoteric stuff, but also the tangible stuff, right? Expecting to do $1 million without a business infrastructure to support it, that's not smart. But sometimes that's what we do, right? Let me make it about me. That's what I did. I set the goal without the infrastructure, and then made myself out to be a liar, made myself out to be a loser, because I didn't know what I didn't know. This is why I think coaching and mentorship is so important, right? Now, you want to make sure you do your due diligence to get the right mentors, but this is why it's so important. I remember the coach that I had in 2014, the year I crossed the $1 million mark. And this particular coach didn't warn me, didn't give me a heads up, didn't do any of the things that I think a coach that's making millions should do for their clients that aspire to make millions, which is a big part of the reason why inside of our work today, we take to heart preparing our clients for the $1 million mark, so that they don't get the rude awakening that I got, right? Almost $400,000 in taxes in 1 year. Immediately, I was like, why did I make all this money if I'm just giving it to the IRS? There's got to be a better way. And there is a better way. And I had to figure it out. And now that's a big part of what we're able to teach to our clients that work with us inside of our programs. So I don't know if I can take some questions. I would love to try to see if I can take some questions. Facebook, I can't even see comments. So if you have a question and you're on Facebook, comment question : and then a member of my team will read me the question. If you're on Instagram and you have a question, there's a little question button that you can fill out for me to ask a question. And if you're on Clubhouse and you have a question, I have a couple people in here who are on Clubhouse, then you can raise your hand and I can bring you to the stage and you can ask your question. But I would love I'd love to take a few questions. If there are no questions, then, we're going to Move to Millions Monday a little bit early. My team and I are heading to Washington, D.C. for the first stop on our Move to Millions tour. On Wednesday, we'll be in D.C. for the first stop, so I'm really excited about that. We also have Atlanta next Tuesday, March the 8th. Lord, I'm trying to get us to May already. And then next Thursday, we'll be here in Delaware on March the 10th. But I'd love to take a question if there is a question. All right, now Rena has her hand up, so let me see if I can get you up to the stage. Let's see. This is always where it gets a little murky. All right. All right, Rena. So welcome to the stage. State your name and your question, and then I'll repeat it back for the people because I don't have a speaker today. Go ahead, Rena.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for having me up on your stage. I actually just started following you on IG and on Clubhouse not long ago, and I just love everything that you're doing in your business and what you stand for. So my question is, when it comes to breaking that six-figure milestone, like reaching it and breaking it,
Mm-hmm.
throughout your career, did you find what connections that you made? Did it have more to do with your network and being introduced, or was it something? Oh, I'm getting some feedback. Or do you feel like it was more so on your own and the offers that you were pitching? I'm just trying to figure out as far as like that milestone breaker,
Mm-hmm.
how did it work for you?
Okay, now let me just restate the question for everybody because we did turn the speaker on, but that came halfway through. So, the gist of the question after Rena just celebrated me for just following me and really loving what I'm doing is to break the six-figure mark. What was the big thing? Was it networking and connecting with specific people, or was it just me doing the work? And I love this question. Now, in the early days of my business, Rena, it was really all about networking. So I was always an offline marketing person. So I didn't get on really on social media. I wasn't trying to get liked or I wasn't doing any of those things back then, but I was getting out to network and I was getting myself booked to speak. Now remember, I said that, and I'm not sure at what point you came on, but what I stated early on, Rena, that my first goal to get to six figures was to get 10 clients to pay me $10,000. Because I know if I had 10 clients who all paid me $10,000, that would add up to $100,000. That was $835 a month for 10 people to pay me, and that's what got me my first $100,000 in my business. So when you look at it like that, Rena, it's going to make it way easier than you could have said, I'm going to create this $97 thing and I'm going to go get however many people, 1,000 people to buy this $97 thing or whatever the numbers are, and then I'm going to have $100,000. That's too much work. So I was like, I just need 10 clients that will pay me $10,000. And so when I would get booked to speak, when I would go out and network, I would meet people for coffee. We weren't doing virtual coffees back then. I would meet people for coffee. That got expensive. Or I would meet them for lunch. And then I started doing phone consults. So I would meet and I would have conversations with people over the phone. And then I would first learn about them and what they were working on and what their problems were. And then if I felt like I could help them, I would tell them that I would help them. I could help them and tell them how. And then I would tell them about my program. My first program was a private coaching offer that was $10,000 a year. Outside of, I probably had maybe three clients before that I charged like $500 a month, so that was like $6,000. But I was like, I'm not gonna make six figures that way. It's gonna be too hard. So let me just streamline. So I had a $10,000 private coaching offer. It was back then it was way too much. I would never advocate for anybody to do this today. So Rena, if you're taking notes and anybody else if you're taking notes, this is not what I'm telling you your $10,000 offer should be, okay? But it was like 3 coaching calls a month. Plus it was like access to me on text message. Like it was way too much. It was everything in the kitchen sink to try to justify that $10,000 price point. But what I realize is the more confident you are about what it is you bring to the table, the less you have to supplement with stuff in your offer because people will borrow your confidence to make a decision to invest in themselves through you. And but that was the first thing, Rena. My goal was to find my first 10 clients. Period, point blank. So everywhere I went, I was looking to have conversations with people who would invest $10,000 to work directly with me privately to help them to start. Because back then I was doing launching and setting up the infrastructure in your business. I was teaching them how to market, how to clarify their ideal client, how to set up their first program, and how to get out there and market so that they could get their first set of clients. And so that's what I did.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So, what I'm hearing from you is that networking things that you did in the beginning, and that's really key. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so very welcome. Yeah, I would say especially now that the world is opening back up and they're removing restrictions and all of that kind of stuff, get back out to be around people. Because people that are going to events are people who want to have their problem solved no matter what. Right? And if you're looking for an event to go to, guess what? I know one that's happening in May. So May 25th through the 27th, move to for help. I ask for my team to help me, or I set a new priority. So typically overwhelm happens when we have too many things on our plate. We're doing too much. We're trying to get a lot of stuff done. You have to set the priority. One of my favorite Stephen Covey isms is to begin with the end in mind. So before you start any task, know what you want to happen at the end of that task and know what is going to be required for you to complete that task. So that if you need to make adjustments in priority, you can do so. So I might have 5 pieces of content that I need to create. I'm still the chief content. I might not be the creator because I have a person on my team who does a lot of the content creation, but I might be the face. Right? I'm the face, so I'm the one that's putting it out there. And it might be on me to record it, and I might have to do that, and I might have to do 3 other things. So I will write all of those things down, Rashida, and I will identify of those 5, and this is how I prioritize. So take notes for those of you who need help with prioritization. First question I ask myself is, what is going to be the easiest to complete with the least amount of effort? I do that first. Easiest to complete with the least amount of effort. Number 2, what is going to be the next easiest to complete and produce the biggest result based on whatever the thing is? Because everything isn't about money inside of your business. But of course, if it's related to cash, then that moves it up the priority list, right? And then the third thing, what can I complete without needing additional resources? So easiest to complete, produce the biggest result, need the least amount of resources. So as you go through it, you shift the priority and you give yourself a beginning and an end, and you give yourself grace. The beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur inside of your own business is that you don't have to get it all done in a day. That's actually business security, to not get it all done. So allow yourself to remove some of that pressure by telling yourself that there's only so many things you need to do in any given day. On my calendar, I only allow myself a maximum of 3 things to do in a day. Because I know me. I'm easily distracted, and I want to be distracted, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I want something to come up that I need to work on, because I like to mix things up. So I'll only have a maximum of 3 things that I need to accomplish on any given day, and it gives me that space, and it substantially reduces the overwhelm that could go along with that. All right, let's see. Is there another question over here? Okay, no more questions over there. Did we have any questions on Facebook? No questions on Facebook? All right, and I don't think we have any questions on LinkedIn either. Any other questions or comments? I would love to take another question. If today's focal point in this confession, what is this? Confessions of a $1 Million CEO was helpful to you, put a 7 in the chat. I like to know whether or not the things that I talk about, people like it or not. For those of you who are on Clubhouse, raise your hand if today's chat was helpful to you. Okay, good. I got 1 7. That means we can call it okay, I got another 7. All right, cool. So that means a couple of you at least got some value from this. Again, this conversation was powered by, the 7s are coming in. Y'all just try to make me feel good about myself. This conversation is powered by Move to Millions Live, our live event that's happening May 25th through the 27th. It's going to be here in Wilmington, Delaware at the Chase Center. You can learn more by going to movetomillionsevent.com. You have never experienced anything like an event that I put on. You know how they on the song I'm like, ain't no party like a whatever kind of party because a whatever party don't stop. Ain't no event like a Darnyelle event because a Darnyelle event don't stop. Like, it is, you ain't never experienced nothing like it. If you are free, if you can get free, it's like I said the other day, Alita Adams, I don't care how you get there. A caravan, an Arab man, I don't care how you get there. You want to get there if you can. If you are millions minded, if you know that you were created to operate at the $1 million mark, not just to flex and to floss, but to create legacy for your children's children, you want to be at Move to Millions Live, because we are going to, over the course of 3 days, we are going to prepare you to become a CEO that makes moves and leaves million. Day 1 is all about the principles. So we're going to talk about the principles to millions. We're going to talk about things like surrender and significance and forgiveness and all of those things, and tithing and the role that they play, all of that success mindset stuff. Day 2 is the assets. We're going to literally tell you, you're going to get in your workbook exactly what it's going to take to make millions in your business. We're going to take all the guesswork out. We're going to tell you everything that's going to be required for you to get to the $1 million mark. That's day 2. And day 3 is the legacy. So we're going to talk about making the shift from $1 million CEO to millionaire. There is a difference. We're going to talk about how to establish assets, what's required to make millions and to have access to millions, what you need inside of your wealth management portfolio. Those are the types of conversations that we're going to have. We want you to be prepared so that you can then decide if millions is the next step for you. It is, life is different at the $1 million mark. It's so different. And not just because you have money enough, but the impact that you can make. My favorite thing to talk about is last year, I gave away $200,000. My cousin stopped by last night. We were just chilling, and he's a bishop of a church. And I was telling him I had given a donation to his church. And he was like, I was like, yeah, last year I gave $200,000 away. And my goal for this year is $500,000. That's my goal for this year. See, so for me, making millions is not just so I can floss. It's so that I can leave the planet better. So I can contribute to those causes that feed me spiritually, that make a difference, that matter to me. Those are the things that I want to be able to do. And that's why having millions is important for me. So I want you to think about that. I want you to go to movetomillionsevent.com to learn more about the live event. Right now, our ticket price is going to increase tomorrow. It's going to go up by $500 tomorrow. Today is the last day for you to get the 4 payment plan. Tomorrow also, there's only going to be a 3 pay. So if you're interested and you know you can be there, I would get on it right now before you miss out on the opportunity. MoveToMillionsEvent.com. 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 I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you so very much. I'm grateful to all of you for taking this time out to spend with me, because I know you could be doing anything right now. So I counted an honor and a privilege to have shared this time with you. I bid you a number 6 blessing, that God's grace be on you and shine upon you, and that he would give you peace. Until we meet again, know that if you did not come from millions, millions ought to come from you. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Right, this is always the hard part, ending all the rooms and saying goodbye.